up because you have asked and I am answering my third IMO in my experience. I don't even know if I can call this third an IMO. It was actually like an LOA model, which essentially means come in here, use all of our tools and resources. You don't have to pay for anything, just get good at selling on the phones and we'll pay you X amount of dollars for every sale that you make. So before I dive into that experience, hello and welcome. My name is Ashley. I'm a final expense telesales agent. I do work from the comfort of my own home. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I've managed to crush it in the space, earning anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a month on my own pen. And I create this content now to help you, other life insurance agents out there, achieve the same. Now, jumping into it, before I get too deep in the story, if you have not watched my first 30 days as a life insurance agent and you haven't watched the second part, which was the 4-month stint at my second IMO, you're not going to really understand how we got here. So stop watching this and go watch those first two and then come back to this video. So up until this point, obviously there's been frustration. I've lost some money, I've lost time, I've not had help, but I'm starting to look around. I'm starting to realize that I actually need help in a big way. And so there were a couple of people that I started to learn from on social media and on YouTube. And one individual stuck out to me, kind of a whistleblower, so to speak. And I realized that that person has the arrows in their back. That person has experienced the same frustrations that I have. I need that person to teach me. However, it was not easy to get in on that opportunity to join that team. I went through 2 interviews and then there was kind of this gauntlet onboarding process, right? The process essentially looked like you have hands-on training. We have a script for you. We have a video library for you. You're going to be able to listen to calls of other agents that are top performers. You're going to also learn how to do e-apps. You're going to learn underwriting. You're going to learn, they had a library of everything that I needed to know, along with 30 minutes of role play every single day, so I could understand how to say the script and what I was trying to get out of Mildred within the script. So it was total immersion, totally hands-on. Now here's the interesting part. Up until this point, I was extremely frustrated with everything that had happened in life insurance. I was hungry to learn and I wanted this to work. And so I was willing to put forth the effort to make it happen. Now, in order for me to stay on this team, because it was gatekept, I only had 2 weeks to go through training. And on my first week of hitting the phones, I had to close 5 sales. My second week of hitting the phones, I had to close 5 sales. If I could not in my first 2 weeks close 5 sales and 5 sales, I was out. There was no cool kids club. Ashley was kicked to the curb. You couldn't hang. You couldn't do the thing. And what's really interesting is the fact that I wanted this so much, I was willing to work very hard. Those 2 weeks when I came out of the training phase and I hit the phones, newsflash, I was not giving fresh leads. Like, that was not the name of the game. The name of the game was you get our aged data, you call them and make 5 sales your first week. I had so many dials. I had not actually dialed before up until this point. Boy, did I get a rude awakening of what it looked like to actually work in the space. I was doing well over 250 dials a day, and this was like manual click. There was no fancy double line dialer. There was none of that. It was like click, click, they didn't pick up, click, click, they didn't pick up, click, click, they didn't pick up, all day long from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. These were 12-hour days. This was not easy. Okay, this was exhausting. But what happened was coming out of a 2-week training stint and then hitting the phones, knowing that if I didn't make 5 sales, I was kicked to the curb. I did it. I did it on my first week of dialing. With everything that I've been through with my first IMO, losing $2,800 with my next IMO, recruiting friends and being sucked into the MLM space, getting 28, I want to think about it. My first official week hitting the phones, well, actually 5 sales. Yes, 5 sales the first week. And then the second week, drum roll, I did 7 policies. 7 my second week. This is coming from a girl who struggled train for 5 months, couldn't figure out anything, was lost in the sauce, was in the MLM hype. Finally, a mentor got a hold of me and I was willing to be coachable. I was willing to do the thing that that person said to do, and I did it. My confidence shot through the roof. I was excited to pick up the phones and I was hungry for the next sale. My third week, I did 10 sales. The next week, 10 sales. Next week, double digits. I never left the double digits. It was amazing. Now, you might be asking, why did you leave? Because Ashley, if you know me and you follow me for any amount of time, you'll know that I am well beyond my third IMO. The issue that I had with this particular team was the fact that because the leads were not hyper fresh all the time, I would get some alpha leads, is what they called the new leads. It was just a lot of dialing and the days were very, very long. And in order for me to hit my 8 to 10, that was like my bare minimum that I wanted to hit for the week, I was working very, very, very long hours in order to hit like a financial goal, right? Because unfortunately, you just weren't paid very well, right? Which I get, they were pouring a lot of time and attention into you. But when you close a policy and you only make $150 for one sale, and then if it's GI, it's only $75 a sale, you do a lot of work and you really, when I did the math, I was getting paid like an hourly wage job for the amount of hours I was sitting at my desk. And I thought, well, now that I have a skill set, this doesn't really make sense. Right? There has to be a way where I can do exactly what I wanted this to do for me and only work when my kids are at school and be able to have the freedom to not be at my desk when there's a field trip, have the freedom to be able to go and do things with my children and not feel guilty. The problem with the LOA model is I felt like an employee. Once I learned the skill set, I had to always say, hey, I'm dropping my kids off at school. I'm running late. I'm not going to be at the meeting this morning. It was like a job. Even though I was 1099, it felt like a job. It was really taking away so much of my time freedom. And again, I was essentially getting paid hourly wages. I would have been better off getting a job at Buc-ee's and working 8 hours a day than putting in the hours that I was putting in just to get paid a small fee. Now, here's the cool thing about life insurance is the marketplace pays you for the value you provide, right? These life insurance companies will pay you because it takes a lot for them to have to market and get clients to make a purchase and stay on the books. That's why we get paid so well. So once I learned that I had a skill set and I realized like, wow, for all these sales I'm making, I would have made tens of thousands of dollars. It was a no-brainer for me that I knew I needed to jump into the brokering world and get out of the free lead LOA model and figure out how to make this work. Now that was a whole nother journey in and of itself because being a broker, you're a business owner. No longer did someone provide the CRM, the leads, the dialers, the systems, the structure, the training, the support, the community. That was gone when I left this team. And I really loved that team. I loved everyone there in that community, but that LOA model was not something that I could sustain long term. I knew I needed to be a broker. And when I stepped out into the brokering world, wow, did reality slap me hard in the face? And I fell forward and ate dirt almost immediately. But that is another story for another day because that is transitioning from IMO 3 to IMO 4. And fun fact, IMO 4 was like a 3-week stint, but that is for another video. So if you want to know about IMO number 4, in the comments below, say #next. #next. We want to know the next story of Ashley's journey. You found a place, got a skill set, did great. Now I'm crushing it. What happens next? If you found value in this video, please give it a big thumbs up, smash that subscribe button. My goal is to help other life insurance agents out there also crush it in this space. So please download my free script below. It's free. Use it. Tons of agents are using it and they're closing up shop every day. I keep getting emails saying, oh my gosh, I just made a sale. I just made a sale. I just had one person bought 80 leads and made 6 sales first week using the script. That's almost a 10% close rate. That's without any proper training. That's the script alone. Also, sit at a table with like-minded agents. Please join the free Facebook community. I go live, share tips and tricks. We ask questions. We have really good conversations in there. And let's all go find Mildred.